I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Ellie Rockette. Hi.
Hi there, Eric. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I don't need an order right now. I just would like you to sit and talk for a little bit, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to sit and chat with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie Rockette, your local rock and roll pop shop waitress. I'm here to serve you with a smile on our virtual pop shop.
So when did you get started with the virtual pop shop?
So this is actually a very recent endeavor. I got started when I joined Irium, which has now hit 3 months, which is, oh my goodness. It's actually, it feels like it's been forever, and yet, time just passed by in a flash.
Oh, I imagine. I've been thankfully able to talk to a lot of folks from the companies at Irium and around that, and it hasn't been out there for that long, but I imagine for you it goes by very quickly when it's happening, because you don't really get a time to, you've got to keep your roller skates going.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. It ended up being a perfect match because for myself, I'm a girl that's always on the go. So it's a mobile app. Everything is zero latency. So we're just going 1, 2, 3, zip, zap, zoom.
Yeah.
I'm ready to yap a mile a minute and get in your eardrums.
The latency thing still gets me. And just going on and saying hello to somebody and immediately and getting an answer almost before I hit send is a little strange at first. But it really does allow folks to have a one-on-one conversation, even if there's a lot of people in the room.
Yeah, 100%. It can be a little jarring when you're used to other programs where, as as a lot of people have chatted about, I know on the other interviews, I did give everything a listen. But I know everyone's chatted about different platforms, how there can be a little bit of a disconnect between chat and the streamer.
Right.
But with Irium and this, I like to think of it almost like a FaceTime or a Zoom call, where the chat is just immediately available, and I'm able to get to your order lickety-split.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's instead of a streamer and a wall of people, a big, giant wall, singular wall of people. It's a streamer and a lot of one-on-one conversations. Instead, it's
100%.
It is a very different thing. And right now, Irium has got the stranglehold on that. I don't think any other thing could possibly do something. So what got you interested in Irium?
So this is actually one of those funny little stories where word of mouth somehow always ends up being one of the most important tools that a company or an organization can have. This was something that was introduced to me by one of the current early access streamers. I've always gone around in anime and convention circles, and one of them introduced me to the app in the most classic way possible. You can imagine, we were sharing a hotel room. They turned to me and they go, "Have you seen my Oshi?" And I go, "What?" And they just put their phone in my face and show me this beautiful demon man with a mask on, and I go, "I need to be in there immediately."
And the program's good too.
Yeah, the program's pretty good too. But no, I have always been the type who's enjoyed being online, doing performance, interacting with people, building community. So being able to see that VTubing app in particular with Irium, it felt a lot more accessible than, for example, getting together with Twitch.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a girl that's on the go, I'm always doing something. I might not always be able to sit at my computer all the time, get my whole setup in, try and manage a whole other system to connect to a whole other application.
Yeah.
So Irium felt super streamlined for me.
Yeah. It's basically the phone.
Yeah.
And it's
that's really all you need.
And that's what you need. But there's other things you can do with it. But the phone is the very basic thing, and with that comes that individuality. Everybody's individual on there. Even if you've got somebody else, coming through some way or another. It's very much you, and it's dependent on your personality to keep things flowing. That's. I mentioned that, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are going like, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't do something like that." Doesn't sound like that's a problem for you.
I will say I do, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I do sit in that little corner where it's like, oh, I know a lot of people who spend their time on the internet. I grew up on the internet, so it's like, oh, we're all introverts who don't really go out. And I'm like, but also, a lot of my current work outside is all community. I kind of have to. I kind of have to be that person that shows up, you know? I'm a waitress, for God's sake.
Yes, yes, and I've been on roller skates one time in my life, and I did not fall down.
I'm glad to hear.
Well, first of all, there was a girl there I had a crush on, and I wasn't about to fall down in front of her. Second, so I stood there, just barely moving, and like not going to happen. And
absolutely.
And now even thinking about it makes my legs hurt. Doing something like that. So you were doing some voice acting work before, or were you dabbling in it, or were you getting some real good projects?
And yeah, I was dabbling in it. I won't disclose the past life, as they call it here, as it connects a little too closely to some stuff. But I did dabble into voice acting for a little while.
Oh.
I interacted a lot, especially with independent video games and some of these like student films and little animated pilots. It felt like a nice extension of performance and acting, which is what I like to do, outside of my waitressing duties.
Oh,
but I kind of ran in.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I just kind of ran into the same roadblock that I can face from the other platforms. This is that it felt very much just me and a microphone talking at the wall. It kind of felt a little lonely.
Yeah, there wasn't any immediate feedback involved in that whatsoever, other than playing it back and making sure you did it right.
Right.
And that'll drive you nuts after a while. I know after doing 30 takes of a 30-second commercial for your local grocery store, that'll drive you up a tree after a while.
Absolutely. It's part of the gig, but sometimes you hear yourself and you're like, oh man, again? This guy again?
Yeah. It's avocados, Lloyd. Get it right. So, first of all, I'm very jealous. Second of all, tell people about how you use, or if you can, how you use the acting skills in doing lines for voice acting. And people think that you just read a line, but that ain't true.
No, absolutely not. When it came to voice acting and acting on stage, which is what I do currently, lots of community theater, a lot of it has to do with intention. I always like to think about it in that it's the same way you talk to people, and a lot of folks don't realize when you're in a conversation, I'm talking to you, but it's not just like I'm talking at you, I'm talking with you.
Right.
All of my words have an intention to them. I want to convey some sort of message. I want to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to guide you in a certain direction. So all of the lines that you see in that script all of them have an intention. You're saying them because you want this person to do something or feel some sort of way, or you're trying to do something for yourself, trying to convince yourself of something, trying to make yourself feel better, trying to make yourself feel worse. There's a whole slew of things that can come from it.
Yeah, I find a lot of things to make myself feel worse. I don't need a script for that after all these years. You were steering somebody's perceptions, and you want to. It's like playing a game where you have a story. You're going by the story, and the story is pulling you along behind it. You're trying to do that with what you're conveying in those words, whether it's "Hi, I'm home" or it's a long, drawn out exposition about what's about to happen next. You still have to act on every single word.
No, absolutely. Again, like you said with that line, there's a big difference between "Hey, hon, I'm home" and "Hey, hon, I'm home."
Yes.
Right.
Hey, hon,
all it takes is intention.
I'm home.
Hey, hon, I'm home.
I'm home. How did that happen? The wife's heard that one a couple times. But truly, it does make a big difference. And that's why a lot of us, old radio guys, aren't exactly the greatest people to do that sort of thing. I mean, we can read a commercial, but reading a commercial isn't the same as portraying a character. And it's not always just doing voices either, is it?
Yeah, like you say, it's about conveying stories as well. But I'm gonna say you gotta give radio guys some credit. That takes a whole other set of skills as well. It's
Yeah.
like you were talking about earlier. It's when you're streaming, especially, it's about maintaining that energy, maintaining things going. And when you're reading out a commercial, the most important thing is that you gotta sell it. You gotta make sure that you're saying this, and you're like, "This is the best thing that has ever come out of my mouth. This is the best thing I will ever say in my life."
Oh, it's the memories. I at the last station I worked for, I had to do a 60-second commercial for a hypnotist that was doing seminars for weight loss and stop smoking. Oh my gosh. It was bad. The script was bad, the concept was bad, but the check cashed. So here, Eric, read the 60-second script.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, my mouth was flabbergasted, just like drop dead, like what really? But again, the cash checked, and that takes a whole other set of skills. You got to sell it exactly like that.
Yeah, it didn't help that 1 week before his show, he ran off and took all the money with him for a couple of days, and then kind of randomly showed back up again right before the show. I was like, oh boy, I'm glad my voice is on that one. It's time to try to find another voice. So you've been somebody that's not had any problem with the microphone. You know, getting up on stage, being in front of people, being in front of people, and
Yeah.
and performing. Was that early on what you wanted to do?
And I will say, it's one of those things that I think ended up working out in the long run. Something that I'm very grateful for. I know it's something that a lot of people have the opportunity for, but I was able to try out a lot of things growing up. I was able to do some sports. I did some tennis, some soccer. I looked into, manual visual arts, all that kind of stuff. And at school, my family, the whole Rockette line could tell you that every year I had something new I wanted to be. I'm like, I want to be a meteorologist. I want to be a chemist. I want to be a teacher. I want to do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But every summer from grades 2 up to grade 12, essentially, I would always go back to theater camp.
Oh.
No matter what.
So you were that person that was in every picture in the yearbook in high school.
Oh, would you believe it? I never was.
What? You were in everything?
Yeah.
Ah.
Not even. A lot of people do get shocked by that. You would be surprised. Because this whole thing, me being more, outgoing, being willing to put myself out there in this kind of context, I think that's what acting ended up helping out with. For me when I was younger. Yeah, it's a very classic tale. Being younger, theater was the escape. Theater was the moment to be myself, be with other people. Ironically, where I would act like other people was where I felt the most like myself.
Oh, that's very, and here you get that kind of chance to do that and be you at the same time.
And I think for me, streaming has become the perfect intersection of those two. Because while I wasn't in every single photo of the yearbook, not even close, that didn't mean that I didn't do anything.
Right.
We had tons of nonprofit, of charity events over at school, a lot of inter-community events with our friends, with family members, with teachers. I would involve myself in that. I didn't mind being part of the background. And once I started getting older, I started becoming a little more confident in myself. I realized that I didn't have to connect with people in a way that felt hidden or just reserved for one part of my life. It could extend to the people I haven't met yet, to the people I want to introduce to, this kind of thing, the people that I want to build a community with, as opposed to trying to, I guess, corral a community in a certain way. It's opening myself up to building a community with other people.
So, was this confidence and backbone, for lack of a better term, something you always had and just kind of found it later, or was there an event that turned the corner for you?
I think the biggest event that turned the corner for me was, I would say, I could kind of count it off. When I had my first straight up job. One of my first straight up paid jobs that I got to do is that I ended up working for who will remain undisclosed for safety reasons.
Yes.
But a government official, local government official in my area. She needed someone to be her secretary, and I said, okay, no problem. And what I didn't realize is that the position was not just being a secretary, it was also being a front-facing assistant. So I would take her to every charity event, every fundraiser, every gathering.
Yep.
And to be honest, she was the one that kind of grabbed my spine and straightened it out.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
She was, I was like, oh, I'm too afraid to drive on the highway. She's like, we need to go on the highway. Get in that car and go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the boss tells you go, you better go. I mean, if you put
exactly.
that job. And with that, it kind of, I'm not going to say it wasn't there, but because obviously it was. It just kind of gave you that little nudge to let it out a little bit.
Yeah, I really think it did. And again, I think it's because it gave me the opportunity to kind of have to do that in a space where it wasn't that I was bringing myself into someone else's space, but that other people were coming to me. Because people started to realize, oh, you work for this person, so I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to ask you for help. I am going to talk to you and engage in like a full conversation. We're going to negotiate. We're going to do all of these things that I didn't realize I was capable of leading. I think that was the big shift. It was realizing that there can be a difference. Like on Irium, when I first joined, I was just as a watcher, and I realized, wait, but I would love to be a streamer as well. I would want to foster this kind of community with people and be sort of like space for them.
Yeah.
So having that opportunity to identify that was huge for me.
Yeah, and with your background of the acting and it wasn't such a nervous thing for you to turn that microphone on.
Oh, no, I will say that was one thing that I don't know how it came naturally to me. It was something that I always loved. Apparently, I didn't remember this, but according to the Rockette family, I had come home one day from school and I said, hello, Mama, hello, Papa. I have a permission slip to join theater camp. The auditions are next week.
Well, okay. That's pretty strident.
Yeah.
And
again, sometimes you just don't realize what you have in you until people remind you.
Yeah, and then they were like, okay. And once you got into that, I mean, obviously you were very young when you started with this. But was it something that you took to immediately, or did you have to get used to it?
I had to get used to it, but I am very grateful to say, as with many things, you always have one person in your life or a couple people in your life that steer you in the right direction. And when I first got started, I had to get used to it, and I had to get used to it with the head counselor, who was a loud, out, proud gay man who would teach me to do hairspray. He would always play Edna and shove 2 cups under his shirt and say, all right, let's do it. And he kind of gave that space. He was like, you can be as kooky, as wacky as you want to be, but we are playing in this space and we're playing in it together.
Yeah.
So a real like, oh, I really got to get used to this, and sort of giving that space to do that.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, and it worked great for you. I mean, I can imagine that it might not work for somebody else, but for you, that was the right combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really it got you in. And for anybody to do that sort of thing for so many years like you did, it really does show how much you really enjoyed it. Because I don't care who you are, when you turn and get to be teenager, some things you used to do, you'd start not liking so much anymore. But you kept going.
Absolutely. Oh no, absolutely. I kept trucking along.
Yeah.
To this day, I will say, to this day, I'm still figuring it out. I don't know why I never backed off from it. I don't know what purely called to me. I don't know if it was just that I had sunken cost fallacy. I don't know what was going on there. But I think ultimately it was what I keep coming back to. It was that sense of community. I came from a pretty decently sized to small town. So when I got that opportunity, it was all people who I knew, who even when I moved on to high school theater outside of theater camp, it was people I already knew. It was getting to still work in that space.
Yeah. So are you still doing theater now?
And yes, I am. I still do some community theater. Currently not professionally, but things
Oh,
that happen in my local area, I always try to audition for, participate in, just to keep that going, you know?
yeah. So, what is your favorite? Well, if you can say this without, doxing yourself a little bit,
Oh, yes.
what would be your favorite role to play?
Ooh, that is a wonderful, wonderful question.
Yeah.
That's all. It's always on the mind, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you act. What would you like to do? What
Yeah.
would you like to be? And and there's just a part of me wants to be very humble, you
Yeah.
know, and I want to say which is still genuine, that I'm happy with whatever role I'm given.
Hmm.
I think for me, what I adore about acting is being able to be part of a story, not necessarily having to lead that story.
Hmm.
So even if it's just a small role in a group, a small role in some sort of musical or play, it is just the most amazing experience to be able to watch, to be able to be there and have the audience react to what's happening,
Yeah.
to realize that this is something they're seeing and living in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And then the narcissistic little actress in me wants to go, I want to be Glinda from Wicked.
and the whole show, the whole play is about me, and then they just take everybody else's lines away, and it's just me
Yeah, it's just me.
flying around on a rope. There you go. I'm good. Um,
Yeah.
but really, when you've done it that long, you have to, I would imagine, learn the nuances of when you are the center of attention, when you are the a support player, um, helping the plot line go, or however the story is going, or somebody who is there just for color. And there's a lot of different things. I would be The Rock, and I would still get it wrong. Um, but I just didn't have the chops in me to do something like that. But the for you, was it easy to make that distinction and to settle back into being part of the group rather than being out front?
And I will say, obviously, it takes some work. I think for me, I had the situation where once I started getting more lead roles, I started being a little more front facing. I had to be coaxed out of my shell a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But once I started working backwards from there, switching from one to the other, I think I ended up realizing what I shared, that we are all there to tell the story no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you are, if you're going to be that rock, that second rock to the left, you got to sell that second rock. You are living your life as the rock. This rock has been here for 20 years. It stayed strong. It's weathered storms, and it's going to stay so perfectly still while the other people walk over it.
I'm a rock.
I'm a rock.
Mom, look, I'm a rock. That's when Mom gets up and walks out.
Yeah.
I've seen enough.
Mom's like, yeah, that's nice, honey. All right, let's go home.
I'll be in the car. um, so with that, and I imagine that with that sort of feedback that you were getting, I imagine it's not always positive, obviously, but I imagine you got some pretty positive feedback. How did that help you continue to have the confidence to go out there again and again?
So I believe, and something that I always, I know I keep repeating myself a little bit, but I can't help it, is the community. It's the people that I've been able to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's been mostly positive feedback, which has been really nice. And it's being able to have that chance to help yourself recognize when you do things right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
always helpful to have a director who will let you know when something's wrong. And I always 100%, I honestly love it when directors give me a note. If they're like, I don't think that was right. Let's do it another way. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what I can change.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that,
Yeah.
because I'm going to do that too.
Yeah. I'm going to do that too. Right. Yes, sir. Red eraser.
Here's a different question for you. What do you do when one of your castmates is Barney Fife?
Oh.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when somebody just really isn't good, and is almost painful, and it's not going to change.
No. It really is some of the, as an actor, it can hurt your heart a little bit, knowing that there's just only so much you can do. But I try to give a lot of grace. I tend to make it a situation where, you know what, even if this isn't their strong suit, the fact that they're out there is something that so many people would not be able to do.
Yeah.
Even people who you could argue would be more talented. So sometimes I have to be there and I have to say, you know what? This is that role that they may be messing up horribly and tripping over their own feet on. There's a reason why they got that, and maybe I didn't or someone else didn't.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is going to be up to them and the director.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what my job is to try and support them the best I can, to become the best background coloring that I can, to really dress that set and make sure that no matter how bad they're doing, we can try and make them look as good as they need to help the story move along.
Yeah. Yeah. There's really, that's the best way to look at it. I mean, especially if you know the situation isn't going to change. if the person's got the part and they're doing their best and they're trying, and that's all you can ask for. Because evidently no one else tried out for that part, or somebody was worse.
Yeah.
And you got to trust your caster and that sort of thing when that comes around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you had a situation where you have somebody who thinks they're better than they are when they're actually closer to Barney Fife?
There have definitely been. At this point, it's been what? 12? Oh goodness, 12 to 14 years that
Yes.
I've been acting. Counting, of course, all the little theater camp moments. But I have had times like these. There have actually been times where I was in the team that would be doing the casting, be doing the audition process.
Yeah.
And I have faced more than one person who essentially said, "Oh, I wasn't cast for the part that I believe I deserve, then I'm not going to be part of it anymore." Because you guys don't know what you're talking about. We have had people like that, 100%.
Oh, God.
And, yeah, and ultimately, I always, like I say, I try to give grace. I just keep that grace a little bit further away. Let them have their moment.
Yes.
But I do try to sit on that place of, you know what? Ultimately, if I'm on their team, I can't go around trying to humble people, because if I have to try and set myself at a standard of humility. I want to behave myself the way that I want to be presented. If that's the way that they want to present themselves, I am not the person that's going to go up and try to pick a fight, because sometimes that can happen. People can want to fight over it.
Yep.
And ultimately, that's not my prerogative. My prerogative is to try and create a kind environment, first of all, with all of our castmates, and a constructive one.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so,
and trying to.
So if they can't take something constructive.
Plus, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't appease them. You can't okay, yeah, you go ahead and take that part.
Yeah, it's not like, oh yeah, you can take that over, sure.
And then everybody else starts walking in with it. Hey, wait a second here. You made that decision and you got to stick with it. Otherwise, your credibility is gone.
Exactly.
And they still don't have any credibility coming out of it, but they have the part now, and everybody's angry. And then you have to deal with everything later. But it's sometimes the ego does get in the way. How do you keep yourself humble?
And for me, and especially, this extends to not just acting, not just streaming, but to a lot of aspects of my life. My humility comes from my understanding that we're all living this day for the very first time. Have you ever lived this day before, Eric? Are you just stuck in a time loop?
Oh, no. No.
Okay.
No, not
Thank
at this
goodness.
point. Definitely not. Yes.
But we are all living this day for the very first time. So that means that we are always going to have room for mistakes. We're always going to have room to realize if we've done something wrong. And ultimately, every moment that we're taking here is a moment to improve the world around us. It's the moment to make sure that we're not just doing things for ourselves, but we're doing things for the people that are surrounding us. Because if we're doing something that's just for ourselves and we don't pay attention to how it's affecting the people around us, then the next day, which we've never lived before, is when we're going to see those consequences completely unexpectedly, or see that we've hurt people or we've caused problems that we didn't even realize or didn't even consider.
Yeah, absolutely.
So having that moment of humility, having a moment of humility to realize, I've never done this before, I've never lived this second of the day before, and neither has the person next to me. It helps me understand that, okay, so there is a chance I can mess something up, and I have to understand that. And there's also a chance that they might do something or say something that may not be very kind or may not be something that I was expecting.
Mm.
And giving yourself the grace to say, well, they're also living this day for the first time too.
Mm.
So I got to give them a moment and try and be on their level. Say, hey, listen, maybe that's not what we're looking for in this moment.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's something that I can help with or something that I have to let them live with and something I have to let them settle on their own.
I'm going to have to listen to that part over and over again for a few times because I'm sure I've violated that more than a few times in the last few days. But really, that how dare you make such sense? Be rational and make sense and something like that. I mean, that is really the optimal thing to do. And a lot of people know that, and a lot of people are smart enough to know it, but the humanity doesn't do that naturally, unfortunately. It does take some training for a lot of folks, including myself, to do that sort of thing. But there are situations where you get into a confrontation, and when you realize who you're arguing for and against in the confrontation, is it going to make any difference if you keep this up? And is it just going to be a waste of time? And is what you're doing going to offend other people and make them angry with you for something that isn't worth it in the meantime?
Right.
And sometimes you just got to cut bait.
Yeah.
You know, you take what you think is an L and probably isn't in the first place, and go home and have some pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's about the only way to do it, because you don't know what's going to come next with anybody. First of all, they could be your boss next time.
Yeah.
And that's always something interesting. And sooner or later you're going to have to work with them again, probably, especially if you're working in like a community theater. They're going to show up again, and they'll remind you. I'm sure they'll remind you over and over again about stuff if you don't handle it the right way.
Exactly.
So how do you get to be so level-headed?
I'll say, is this an interview question or is this another one of those, how dare you make sense?
It's both. Both. I mean, have you always been somebody who could look at the situation and process it a little bit and come up with a, not necessarily thinking black and white, left, right, up, down, but look at it a third way that may make more sense in the long run?
Yeah, and I will say this may be a moment where I get a little introspective, a little vulnerable, but I wasn't always that type of person, especially when I was quite young. Obviously, you always make mistakes when you're a teenager. But even going into young adulthood, I was genuinely kind of an angry person. I found it difficult to regulate myself, and it really was. I took a moment to myself. I took a moment to engage in some therapy. I took a moment to essentially reevaluate where my life was headed, and being able to take a step back. And for that, it wasn't so much realizing, oh, I'm being unreasonable, because that's not kind to yourself either.
Right.
It's not that I'm being unreasonable. It's that I'm taking things in the wrong direction. I'm letting something that I need to work out for myself affect how I'm interacting with people who may actually have my best interest at heart, or people who have their own struggles that they're going through. And instead of giving them a moment of grace or giving them a moment to have that for themselves, I'm pushing back against the same wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If two bouncy balls are bouncing in the same room, they're going to bounce off of each other.
And eventually, and you don't want to pile on, because you don't know what that other person's going through.
Exactly.
You wouldn't, if there was a guy on the ground, you're not going to jump on him, just to make it worse. Even though
absolutely.
you don't know why they're on the ground, you don't know why people are in this situation and angry. You just try to handle it as best you can. Sometimes you have to handle it by getting out of there, or getting them out of there, one way or the other, and go from there. Let them go and reset and start again. But that is not just borderlining, but walking right through the minefield of empathy. And
It is. It's
and
direct. It's direct.
and it's something that is very very tough to find in a lot of places these days, for various different reasons. And when you find that you are developing that sense of it, embrace it as much as you can, because then you really do see things in a completely different light when you do that. A lot of veil is lifted, and it gets a little clearer what needs to be done. Again, also thinking in 3 dimensions helps.
No, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, all that type of thing. So when you tune into a Ellie Rockette stream, it's going to be in 3 dimensions, even if it's flat on the screen.
Yeah, 100%. It is something that I always try to lead with.
Yes.
It's going to be fully 3-dimensional, baby.
Yes. So have you seen yourself? Have you done any way of recording yourself and seeing yourself on the stream, and what did you think when you heard it?
Oh my goodness. I have seen a couple of clips that people have sent to me,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of clips that are actually available on TikTok right now. I'm sure a few Ethereum streamers have talked about Ethereum Out of Character, Ethereum OOC. That
Mm-hmm.
tends to post a lot of those types of clips.
Yeah. Yes.
And oh my goodness, it's it's honestly one of my weaknesses as a person, is that I look back on something when we were talking earlier about the whole listening back to yourself 30 times to make sure you got it right.
Oh, yeah.
I'll listen back to a clip and I'll be like, oh my God, that's me. That's what I sound like.
Yeah. It's shocking because you're never going to sound like you sound in your head.
Never.
No, and once you kind of get more used to what you sound like when you hear back, and it takes a while, even for radio guys and people who've done it a lot of times. Sometimes you wonder, why do other people like hearing this? and then you have to kind of step back and take a less critical look. And that's another thing too. You've got to know when to be more critical and less critical of yourself when you do these sort of things.
100%.
Because you can criticize yourself into nothingness, or you can step back and say, "Oh, I'm absolutely perfect," and really, really get under my skin personally. I shake my fist at the sky.
Yeah, the difference between "can you give me some notes" and "I don't need any notes" is the difference between one sentence and a whole page.
Yes, there's a difference between me getting C- and D in school and getting an A on a test. They asked, was I paying attention and was I interested in it? That's the big difference. You have to be interested online now all the time, don't you? You have to have that curiosity in your interactions with your chat, don't you?
No, yeah, absolutely. When it says that curiosity, it's speaking to the fact that you're not, as we mentioned earlier, you're not just chatting at the wall. You're chatting with people. You're interacting with folks who may want to get to know you as well as they want to share. Whatever the chat wants to share with you is because they trust you at that information, or they want to give back that same enjoyment that they're getting out of the stream.
Yeah.
Some of the streams that I host are the What Do You Recommends, where I invite chat to tell me what they're into. What kind of music do you listen to? What kind of shows do you watch? And I give myself that list so I can look back on it and see what it is that my chat's into. Being able to have that conversation in the future where, oh yeah, you showed me that song, I loved it a lot. Oh, I just watched this anime, it might not be for me, but I see what you like about it. It's that curiosity of knowing what people are into and how that even relates to what they see in you or what they might see in the chat that they're in.
That's extremely interesting, because that is a pretty brilliant, actually. You stunned me with that one. It really does make that a much more individual, personal experience by doing that. You took their suggestion, you looked into it. They're making the suggestion based on they think you like it, you would like it. And again, you get down to that one-on-one experience. There's pretty good stuff there. Did you take any marketing courses?
No, I've not taken any marketing. But when I'm not working at the pop shop, I do have experience in nonprofit community stuff.
Yeah.
So part of that is being out in the community and getting that info too, getting to know people,
Yeah,
getting to understand what it is they like.
Yeah, and you have to think outside the box a lot of times.
A lot of the time.
Sometimes the being in the box is good, but if you come up with some new way, where if it's a charity, some new ad stream, some new stream of funds, some way to do it without people even knowing that they're knowing or caring they're giving to a charity, that type of thing. The more people you expose to it, the better. That type of thing. You have to think outside the box. And I would put, and I'm not a betting man in any stretch of imagination, but I would put a shiny quarter down that you are one of those folks that comes up with all sorts of new ideas all the time.
So I'm told.
I win my quarterback.
There you go.
Yes.
It's all yours. You can use it to buy something later at the shop.
Yeah, better, because that's the only quarter I got, I tell you, at this point. We're in between checks. But having that ability and that creativity, adding that on to a solid personality, the ability to interact with people on their level, on a positive level, having the type of voice that you have, which is all immediately welcoming and very clear, is so much good. You expected me to come up with a big word there, but good is what I come up with. Is so many positives that it's I don't see how you can't do this. You pretty much have to now.
My goodness.
It seems like they made it for you. Now you have to stay.
I'm hoping they keep me around.
Yeah. So with this now, and now you got a couple months under your belt with it. Do you have any goal other than continuing to do what you're doing with this channel? Or do you want to expand to other platforms? Do you want to stay with this one and see where it takes you, or what do you got going?
Yeah, I would love to. I have been actually currently working on expansion to other platforms, just so that I can explore more, see if, what other audiences are out there. But I do consider Iria my primary home base, so to speak. The original pop shop.
Yes.
Before we go into all the franchising.
Exactly. Yes, I hope I get coupons.
Yeah. As a first time, original diner, then by all means, you get a whole book.
I appreciate that, because we were in radio and we lived on coupons. Believe me, anything that took any price off, we went for it. It is absolutely wonderful talking with you, because I am thoroughly amazed by what you're able to do, and the abilities that you have, and I'm not going to put anything past you at all. I think that even if something happens and this is not, and turns up being not the exactly right thing for you, you will find something that is right, and you will hammer it into the point where it is right. If I were still hiring, I'd give you every chance to not make any money in radio, and hate me for the rest of your life. But I can't imagine there being a better spot for you right now than this.
Thank you so much, Eric. That really means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I was just chatting with my community recently on stream, getting a little emotional as I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But it really means a lot, because part of this is, like I say, I'm not talking at a wall. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to you, and getting able to have that feedback too. Just it really blows my mind to have that kind of support. So it really has been a pleasure talking to you here. Yeah. This has been an amazing interview experience.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I always appreciate anybody willing to come on and talk to the old man for a little bit. But you have to keep shining. You're one of those triumphs I talk about all the time. And whether you realize it or not, or even trying it, the stuff that you are doing and the other folks in Irium are doing as well are blazing trails for other people. Just by going out there, and even if what you do doesn't always work, you're setting that trail for somebody else to do something. So keep going, please.
I'm going to say I have to keep going. I don't know how to stop these skates. I never learned that part.
I don't know how to stop. You're going to have to catch the fries on the fly there. Luckily,
Yep.
I was a bachelor for 43 years, and I know how to do that. So go ahead and toss. Thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, likewise, Eric. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.